unused to the climate. I think that if man ever found a place to live easy and happy, that Eden is on Puget Sound. Eden is on Puget Sound. That Eden is on Puget Sound. A place to live easy and happy. That Eden is on Puget Sound.
Hello and welcome to the Seattle Files. My name is Kris Allen, I'm your host. Every week I get together with a different local comedian, and together we discuss the strange, unusual, interesting, and oftentimes lesser-known aspects of our local history. Joining me today on the program is Kris Corbitt. How's it going, Kris?
It's great.
Good. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I can't wait to learn about something.
Awesome. Kris is an ensemble member in Jet City Improv. She performs very regularly there in a wide variety of shows, as well as shows all around town. You can catch her on May 14th performing in Cast of One at Comedy Sports Seattle at the Atlas Theater in Fremont. You want to tell us a little about Cast of One?
Well, I actually don't know that much about it.
Okay.
I am intentionally going in a little naive, but it's where you go and you get a play, a book, or a movie. You get 30 seconds to look at the actual description of the plot, and then as a single performer, you get to perform the entire thing. All of the characters, all of the scenes, etc. So,
yes.
Very daring, but going to be fun.
Yeah, it's one person playing all parts for a
Yes.
full production that they know nothing about.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. I've seen it many times. I've done it myself. Keeson, who was on the guest for the episode on D.B. Cooper, he produces it.
Yeah.
And so May 14th, come on out and check out Kris Corbitt in that.
Yeah. Should be fun.
So Kris, how long have you lived in the Seattle area?
I was born in University Hospital,
Okay.
but lived most of my life in Mukilteo,
Mm-hmm.
a few years in Marysville.
Okay, the
And-
Paris of
Correct.
Washington, yeah.
Then Tacoma for college, and now I am a resident of Seattle proper. I have a Seattle address.
Cool.
So 4 official years.
For
of
official
living in
years
Seattle.
since you graduated. And where'd you go to school in Tacoma?
Pacific Lutheran University.
Feel you. Awesome.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
elite.
How much do you... So you lived in Western Washington your entire life?
Absolutely.
Cool. How much do you know about local history?
Well, I know that white people weren't the first to live here.
Yes, that is accurate.
I also know that from the Bertha Museum, because I went there recently.
The Milepost 31?
Is that what it's called?
It's
the
down
one
on-
with the boring,
Down on First Avenue.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
the world's most boring museum
Yes.
about Big Bertha.
Which is the sole reason I went inside because of that pun on the building. I learned that we basically in Seattle are living on a swamp.
Yes.
The old, like when you see I just stood in front of this thing that is just showing the actual animation of the city changing
Yes.
and being built upon a swampland.
Yeah.
So it was really reassuring.
A lot of that area down in Pioneer Square is fill.
Yeah, okay.
And south of
Yeah.
there is dirt fill that they filled in the marshland.
Yeah, like
Tide flats with.
Sodo and the stadiums.
Yep, that's all
Really
built on fill.
Shaky ground. And, and then D.B. Cooper. I did know about D.B. Cooper because my dad loves him.
Oh, okay.
Or is fascinated by him.
Does he know who he is?
Nope, but he was around when it happened, so it's this cool legend of,
Yeah.
like, where's the money? What?
Yeah.
So, and then I have listened to, I think, all of your episodes.
Cool.
So I know more than
you
I
know
did.
those things.
Yes, exactly.
Cool. Well, we're not going to be talking about any of those things today,
That's
so
great.
we're not going to do a repeat. And you don't know what we're going to be talking about, correct?
No, and I'm excited and scared.
Awesome. So let's get started.
Okay.
George Henry Bartell was born December 14th, 1868 in Dickinson County, Kansas. His father was a German immigrant who co-owned a hotel and had dealings in lumber.
Hotel and lumber. So he got a pretty good rate on what to build the
He
hotels out
did,
of.
yeah. George grew up on a farm in Kansas. He was the 6th of 10 children, 7 girls and 3 boys.
Wait, 6 of 10. Is he on the older side or the younger side?
I think he's on the younger side.
But he's like he's like middle.
He's middle.
Much.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, 7 girls and 3 boys, and his older brother died very young.
Oh no.
And he grew up as the oldest surviving son.
Gee, what killed them?
they died young.
Okay, they just died.
Infant mortality was very high
in
those days.
Okay,
especially
I forget.
in rural Kansas in the 1860s.
Yeah, but they had to have kids to tend the land.
To work on the farm, to tend the lands.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yep. As the eldest boy, his father gave him many responsibilities, both with the family and with his business interests, which George began to resent.
He didn't like work.
Well, he didn't like this work. Oh. He didn't like doing his father's work. He was a hard worker, but he didn't want to work in the lumber industry. He didn't want to work in the hotel.
Okay.
So he left home to seek his own fortune at the age of 14.
Oh my gosh. I was... What 14-year-old is... I'm 14, a strapping young lad. I'm gonna seek my fortune today. Like, what?
Well, this wasn't terribly uncommon at the time.
Which
blows my mind. Time. We really do, yeah.
I mean, when I was 14, I was like... Ooh, Nintendo!
Yeah,
and
me too.
Oh man, and I was awkward and pimply, so good on this guy, Bartell.
Yeah. Only 10% of children in Kansas attended high school at the time. So it wasn't uncommon for kids to drop out of school.
What's the rate now? Is it about the same?
I think it's higher.
Kansas. No.
I think more people in Kansas go to at least high school than 10%. I would be shocked to learn that wasn't true.
But I mean, there's so much to learn, in all seriousness, on the job, on the farm, that you could basically replace your high school education or whatever with because you're learning a trade.
And that's what you need to do. You don't necessarily need an education to make a good living and live a fulfilling life in rural Kansas in the 1860s.
Yes, okay.
So we went 70 miles west to Lincoln City and gained employment as a drugstore assistant at the age of 14.
Oh, okay. That's good. Little pills and such. Yeah. Is that what he's doing?
Kind of, yeah.
And the drugstore assistant, I assume he's just like moving pills around.
Moving pills around.
Great.
He later said, quote, "A friend of mine advised me to enter the drug business when I was very young, and I got acquainted with the president at the time of the State Pharmaceutical Association, and he took me under his wing."
Oh my gosh. No, I mean, the drug industry is a good industry to get into.
It really is.
Pretty much consistently through history, including today.
People like and need drugs.
Did he buy any Wu-Tang Clan albums?
Oh, probably not. I don't think...
Were they around during this time?
I think they post-date this.
Oh, okay.
I'm not as much of a scholar on the history of Wu-Tang Clan. Okay. I know they're nothing to fuck with. But I don't think that they're around...
I'm just wondering if this is like that one guy's great.
Oh,
this
the guy who
tried
to screw everybody out of the HIV medication.
Yes, he's like, ooh, these drugs and these drugs. Oh, I can just make an extra buck if I charge $1 more if I'm the assistant selling you the drugs.
Yeah, and $1 would be a fairly substantial amount of money back then. So.
Oh yeah.
But no, he's 14. He's a pharmacist assistant. He's
just learning on the way.
At 16, he was promoted to assistant manager of the drugstore.
Ooh,
and at 18, he became a licensed pharmacist after finishing his required year-long apprenticeship.
That's what it takes to be a pharmacist.
Then it did. Now you gotta go to college.
No, now you have to go to college. You have to get so many degrees now.
Yeah.
So just a year, and he's apprenticeship, he's a pharmacist.
And at 18, he's a licensed pharmacist.
Now... Could he drink at 18 at this time?
I don't know. I don't know what the legal drinking age was then.
I'm just trying to... It's like, okay, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, if I go to a pharmacy now and there's an 18-year-old behind the counter, I assume he's robbing it. Yeah. And then just pretended he's a pharmacist in order to, oh, no, I'm going to get caught. What can I do for you, sir?
Yeah, exactly. He's like grabbing the lab coat.
Yeah, and putting it on. Legit. He's like, yeah, we've got that. Sure, just hold on a second, dude.
Take as many as you want.
Yeah,
I don't
know. There was a massive migration of men and women moving to the Pacific Northwest in the 1880s. In 1887, at the age of 18, just after acquiring his pharmacist license, George was offered a free train ride to Washington Territory.
Ooh.
He was to ride in a boxcar with 10 horses.
Okay.
And on the trip, he would feed the horses over the long journey in exchange for free passage.
Okay, now, I'm no pharmacist, but when you feed horses, they tend to be messy later.
Yeah.
Did he have to just live in horse shit on this journey?
He probably had a shovel.
Oh my god.
So he was probably shoveling the horse poop out the window as they're chugging along on the tracks.
This is not a free train ride. You said free. This doesn't sound free to me.
You would rather pay the, like, $8 or something?
I would pay so much money. I would pay hundreds of dollars to avoid that.
Okay.
That task. Oh, poor George. Although, no, good for him. He's going where all the people are.
He's going where the people are,
Okay.
yeah. He's setting off on at 14, he set off on his own, and at 18, he's like, I'm going to use this wisdom and experience as an 18-year-old to make it in the Northwest.
Wait, is his hair gray right now? Does he have glasses? Is he Benjamin Buttoning this
I don't
whole
think
thing?
so, no. I have not seen pictures of him as a young man.
What's that movie? Oh, he's Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Robin Williams is Jack.
He's old and grizzled at the age of 18.
He's 18. Wink, wink.
He's wise beyond his years, though.
Okay.
He's a pharmacist assistant.
I know,
I didn't comb my hair until I was 30. Like, he's doing pretty well for himself.
Man, is he meeting ladies? I would assume he's meeting.
Well,
some
not in the
ladies.
boxcar with
Okay.
the horses, but
I forgot that's still where we are.
Yeah.
I guess not. Okay, continue.
Okay. The train terminated in Ellensburg, which is over 100 miles from Seattle. And from there, he rode on horseback over Snoqualmie Pass to Seattle.
The same horses he fed.
I don't know if it was the same horse he fed.
No.
They bonded over the course of the trip.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. There was just like this dramatic scene of him having to leave his new friends.
Yeah.
And he didn't know a single person, but he had his horses.
Yeah.
And fortunately, he got to ride one all the way to Seattle.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story.
It is. And that's the end, right?
No, there's more, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. When he arrived in Seattle, he had $15 to his name. He worked odd jobs and occasionally filled in as a pharmacist at drugstores. He sold real estate for a time and did whatever he could to make ends meet and make connections.
Okay.
In 1889, he got typhoid fever. Believing it came from drinking Seattle's water, he moved to Whidbey Island.
Because Whidbey Island has pure water, just pump it in from the ocean.
I don't think you can drink ocean water.
Oh.
But it's
I'm no pharmacist, but he would know.
He would know, yeah. He would know. I think the sanitary conditions were not great at the time. And so he got typhoid, moved to Whidbey Island. You know, the streams are not contaminated with feces of various types.
Okay, that's fair. Whidbey's really pretty.
Yeah. And while he was away, Seattle burned to the ground. The Great Seattle Fire happened June 6th, 1889.
He's like, dodged that bullet.
He did.
Oh!
He did. Yeah, I didn't cough that day because I was getting over typhoid. And if you want to learn more about the Great Seattle Fire, check out episode 1. That's the first episode of the podcast. In 1890, Bartell moved back to Seattle and started working at the Lake Washington Pharmacy on the corner of 5th and Jackson. The first cable cars established in Seattle, pulled by horses, went right by the store, making it prime real estate, and soon he was working full-time.
I think I've gone to this location. It's like a mini-mart
I don't
now.
think it's there anymore.
No,
I don't think this particular... There might be a mini-mart there.
There's
but
a mini-mart at
on 5th and Jackson? Okay.
that I've definitely been to.
Maybe that is the same, because
Yeah.
if it's the same, that's a historically preserved district, so if it's in 1890, just after the fire, it's probably the same building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I
I don't think that his relatives are working there at all.
Probably not. No, I don't think so either. 2 weeks after being hired, the owner of the drugstore, Horace Hall, decided to leave the drugstore business to concentrate full-time on his medical practice. He offered to sell the business to Bartell for $3,000, which is about $80,000 today.
Whoa.
George Bartell quickly borrowed the money from the business, his business associates, and at the age of 21 became the owner of the first Bartell Drugs.
Oh!
Trusted around here since 1890.
That's where that comes from.
Yeah, that's where that comes from.
This guy.
This is the first Bartell Drugs.
George. Oh my gosh. I've been to the first Bartell's. Maybe.
Hey, yeah.
I feel really good about myself.
Yeah. He kept the name on the Lake Washington Pharmacy, but put his name Bartell above it on the front sign.
Okay.
George Bartell made frequent trips to San Francisco to pick up medicines. The medicines of the day were crude and usually plant extracts.
So we didn't have medicine here. It all had to come from San Francisco plants.
Other places. There would have been refineries and things like that.
Okay, and did you ride a horse to get to San Francisco?
I think he would have taken steamships down.
Okay, does he have a horse stable at the drugstore? I'm just assuming.
Not at the drugstore. He probably still has a horse.
I'm assuming he has a lifelong bond with his horses.
Yeah,
now,
but horses don't live as long as people, so.
I didn't know that.
Sorry, are you sad now?
A little bit. I'm thinking about all the horses I rode as a kid.
Oh, yeah, they're gone. Sorry. I don't know if he took his horse to Whidbey Island. I don't know. I don't know what happened to the horse. The horse kind of leaves the story at this point. It's a loose end. I know. I didn't follow up on the research.
I'll think of something.
You'll track down the horse?
Yeah, I will
Okay.
track down the horse.
All right.
Excuse me a moment.
Yeah. He sold belladonna for headaches and cramps, catnip for colds and fevers.
What?
Yeah, cascara tree bark as a laxative, cinchoca tree bark for malaria. I don't know how to pronounce a lot of these things. Witch hazel for inflammation, saltpeter as a preservative, calomel, ipecac, and other oils and chemicals.
Sorry, the one that's preservative? What?
Saltpeter?
What are people preserving?
Meats and stuff, I guess?
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
I believe. I'm not sure.
When you said it, I'm sorry. I thought the category was drugs that people would take for things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, living people preserving parts of their bodies?
Yeah.
I don't understand. But okay.
I really like my finger. I'm going to rub saltpeter on it.
Right.
Otherwise, I'll lose my
I
finger.
want to keep it as is.
Yeah. He also kept a 20-pound slab of opium behind the counter, which could be purchased for a toothache. So he would cut off a piece of the opium and then sell it by weight, and then people would chew the opium, and they would feel much better.
I'm sure they would. And I'm sure they never came back for any more opium.
You know, I think they did, actually.
Oh, what?
I think that people
No, it's
would...
not a one and done.
It's a one and fun is what it was. Yeah, opium chewing was a big pastime.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Many quote-unquote patent medicine contained opiums. So patent medicine is what they called the little tinctures and stuff that had opium in them. Lydia Pinkham's vegetable compound for quote-unquote ladies' problems, which was largely alcohol. So it was just alcohol, a little opium.
Just if you're feeling it, girl, you just take a drink.
That's what it said underneath in the subtitle. Lydia Pinkham's vegetable compound. If you're feeling it, girl, take a drink.
Yeah, okay, I would drink that.
Yeah. Yeah. People came back for it.
I'm
It's
sure
very
they would.
popular. Castoria was a children's laxative, and Purina was sold for clogged air passages.
Interesting. Not for sanitizing.
Not for sanitizing.
Okay.
Capsules weren't commonly being used yet. So much of Bartell's work involved mixing powders and pressing them into pills. Some powders he wrapped in onion skins, and he made his own tinctures with grain alcohol.
What?
So he would buy the actual plant and the leaves and the dried leaves, and then he would make the actual medicine and mix it up himself.
Okay, so I'm just imagining, because I have spices for cooking, I'm imagining my spices and just pasting, like taking water or something and just like pressing it together and pill.
Yeah. What about a pill press?
Okay,
for
a
it?
machine, not
Yeah.
his hands.
And he
Okay.
probably would have been wrapping things in with his hands in the onion skin.
Oh, I love onions.
I don't believe you.
I don't.
As you grimace while you say it.
Here, take this onion pill.
Yeah.
Great.
Once capsules became cheap and available, many customers were confused. Bartell later told the Seattle Times, quote, "One of my customers complained bitterly about the prescription we'd filled for him. Dang it, George, I don't want any more of those capsules. It's way too much work to dig all that powder out of them."
Plus onions. Blah.
Well, once capsules like gel caps, so that people were just supposed to take the capsule
They didn't
and it
realize
dissolved.
that.
They didn't realize that. They thought they had to open up the capsule and then dig all the powder out and then take the powder orally.
You know, that's funny because I've taken pills that are in capsule pills, and I've always, when I was a kid, I was fascinated by them because I was always like, what if I popped it open? Is the medicine inside or is it the capsule? I never actually was daring enough to do it. I did once take an entire bottle of fluoride pills when I was like 2. I loved fluoride pills.
What?
They were...
Were they like chewable?
No, they weren't, but they were these tiny pink pills.
Okay.
And this was when we lived in Marysville, where
Of course
there was
this
no
happened
fluoride.
in Marysville.
Marysville. There's no fluoride in the water.
Okay.
So we had fluoride pills that we would take, and you would take them every day.
Don't you know that stuff brainwashes you?
Right,
That's
I know.
what the government puts in your water to make you thinking less.
I know. It's probably, helped me get to where I am today.
Yeah.
But I took a box of them, because I thought they were just these magical pink pills. Anyways.
Okay.
I'm sure Bartell maybe knew something about fluoride, but I could be wrong.
I remember being very young, and the capsules, my parents would break open the capsule and they would sprinkle it on like a piece of peanut butter toast or something like that, so I would eat it because I couldn't take pills yet. When I was like 4 or something. I vaguely remember that. I also remember it tasting really bad and not wanting to eat it then.
Yeah, and you never ate peanut butter again.
No, I eat peanut butter every day.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So it didn't ruin peanut butter for you.
But now I have to sprinkle pills over it in order to eat the peanut butter, so it's a toss-up. In the early 1890s, Bartell spent 12 to 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, working in the 15 by 30-foot store. He slept in the back and attended classes at the University of Washington at night.
What was he studying?
Pharmacy.
Wait, but he already had his apprenticeship.
Yeah.
He just wants
He's still
more
learning.
of that knowledge?
UW was still located downtown at the time, so it wasn't far from the store.
Okay.
It wasn't at the campus. It didn't move to the campus until 1895,
He didn't have to ride his horse there, you're saying.
He could have walked.
Okay.
He could have ridden his horse, though, if so inclined.
I could just see him, big man on campus, like, hey, sup?
Yeah.
On his horse.
Riding the horse around.
Did people do that, ride horses to college?
Every college has one of those guys with the unicycle guy
that
rides around campus on a unicycle. Every college has one.
Yep.
So he might have been the horse guy. He was the horse guy. June 27th, 1892, he married Mary Heaney, a British immigrant. Almost nothing is known about her, other than that the marriage ended in the early 1900s.
Oh, wait, so they married and
split?
done.
Well, it's not even known if it ended in divorce or if she died.
Oh my gosh.
We don't know. We just know that the marriage ended.
We don't know something about women in history? I don't understand.
An immigrant woman in history?
Immigrant woman,
Shocking,
yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. In 1897, the steamship Portland arrived in Seattle, carrying over 2 tons of gold. It was the start of the Klondike Gold Rush, and men and women from around the country flocked to the north to try and find their fortune. Mm-hmm. Bartell wasted no time. He had been working hard, and the drugstore was doing well, though he was still deeply in debt. He gathered 1,500 pounds of supplies, enough to survive the frozen white north, and $2,000 in cash.
So he was gonna go?
He's going.
What? But he has his school and his horses and his pharmacy.
He can take the horses with him.
Oh, okay.
To the north,
That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, they had a lot of the steamships you would take up. First class sleeps with the horses, second class sleeps with the mules.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you want to learn more about that, check out the episode on John Nordstrom.
So was he with the horses again? He's always traveling with horses. I mean, seriously?
Most people would have horses, and you would need to take your horses up north.
Did he get free passage because
Free
he was
passage?
feeding these
No,
horses?
he would have had to pay for certain, yeah.
okay.
A mere 6 days after the SS Portland arrived in Seattle, Bartell boarded the steamship Queen and headed up to Skagway, where he took the Chilkoot Trail to Lake Bennett, where he joined with some other miners and cut down trees to make a raft. And they floated the Yukon River to Dawson City and secured a small claim on the tributary of the Yukon River.
Whoa.
Now, I've got some bad news for you. If he goes over the Chilkoot Trail, riding on the horses, when they get to the end of the Chilkoot, they typically slaughter the horses for meat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, but it's a good thing for him.
This is also known as Dead Horse Trail.
Dead Horse
That is the
Trail.
other, yeah.
So wait, they would because there's just all these like bones and such on the trail itself.
Yes. Thousands of horses died going over the trails.
Okay, but the horse fulfilled the journey.
Yeah.
And then provided nourishment. So, circle of life.
Yeah.
Is where I'm gonna just holding a horse baby up.
Yeah. Exactly. A deer is holding the baby up.
The end of the trail, and there's a light.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
The sun was only up for 2 hours a day, but there's a light shining down. He and his partners built a small cabin. That winter, the sun rose for 4 to 5 hours a day, and the temperature could reach 60 below zero.
So I'm sorry, they had a claim.
They had a claim. They got a land
So in
claim.
other words, they weren't like in a hurry. They could like take their time to build a cabin.
They would have been in a hurry. Everybody going up there was in a hurry. It was called the Stampede.
So wait, but they built a cabin?
They built a cabin.
Oh, and he has lumber experience. Did he sit down and just be like, I don't, bad memories, no.
I don't think so.
Didn't he not like that work?
I think he would have helped build the cabin, because you kind of need it to survive.
Okay.
I mean, they would have been in a hurry to start mining, but they also didn't want to freeze to death.
Okay, I mean...
Not freezing to death is a priority for these guys.
Okay, that's fair, but I feel like, I don't know, cabins take a long time.
Yeah, this probably wasn't like a really nice cabin. It was a ramshackle. A lot of times they would take, for the windows, they would just take a bunch of old empty whiskey bottles, and they would line the whiskey bottles up, and that would be their window, or they just wouldn't have a window. One day he was attempting to get water from beneath a frozen stream when he broke through the ice and fell into the water. He managed to get himself out, but before he could get back to the cabin, his clothes froze solid. But he did make it back to the cabin, and he was very lucky he didn't freeze to death.
But his clothes were frozen, so he wasn't like, for a moment, he was a statue.
Kind of.
Kind of like in a, Marvel comic movie.
Yes.
When he's like frozen.
Like crackling along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, it's not a good situation.
No.
Very, very lucky he didn't die.
Yeah.
Very
How did
lucky.
he not die is a good question.
He made it back to the cabin just in time. His clothes were freezing solid as he's making it back.
Oh my gosh.
Like most who went to the Klondike, Bartell did not strike it rich. He worked on some other people's claims and found a small amount of gold on his own. It wasn't much, but it was enough for him to cover his losses. So he basically broke even. Mm-hmm. But he got to go on this great adventure.
Okay. That's good for him.
Yeah, not so good for his horses.
Adventures are good.
Mm-hmm. One of his most cherished memories from the gold rush was paying a priest 50 cents to hear him read from the Seattle PI of the Spanish-American War.
Oh my gosh. That's a good paper.
Yeah.
Too bad it's no longer.
SeattlePI.com. It actually predates the Seattle Times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did know that, actually.
Cool.
Yeah, I love the PI.
Yeah. SeattlePI.com. While he was gone, the Bayer Corporation introduced 2 new drugs on the market, both which became very popular. Aspirin and heroin, which were both released by Bayer the same year.
Now, are they released in powder form, or does Bayer have its own fancy pill press?
Aspirin would have been a pill.
Okay.
And then heroin would have come in its own little container, liquid container.
Oh, sure.
With a little syringe.
With the syringe.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've seen the little cases they came with.
You can actually find the old advertising promotions that they have for it, where it's Bayer in big letters at the top, and then aspirin and heroin written right underneath it. It's because they launched the products at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. Aspirin or heroin is prescribed for a wide variety of illnesses, including the common cold. Because as soon as you shoot some heroin, who cares about that cold, right? Woo!
Oh my gosh! He could have used heroin when he was frozen. He would have been fine.
He would have froze to death.
Like,
if my clothes are freezing solid, better shoot some heroin. Probably would not have worked out for him.
All right.
A year later, he returned to Seattle, and his favorite horse was waiting for him. No, I don't know. That's not. Sorry. He said, quote, "When I was up in Alaska, I had lots of time to think. I thought, well, why should I work all the time in the suburbs? Why didn't I go downtown where there's more business? So immediately when I came back, I started a store downtown."
Wait a second.
I know what you're thinking.
Okay.
I know where you're getting with this. You're saying 5th and Jackson is not the suburbs.
Yep.
It was back then.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What?
That would have been kind of out there. Even though it was a few blocks, it was far enough away from downtown where it was no longer considered downtown.
I'm imagining between 5th and Jackson and downtown is just a wasteland. So it feels like it's like so far away. It's just like big mounds of dirt and there's just nothing. He has to walk around it and it takes him 30 minutes to walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Got to get around that big hole.
So does he abandon 5th and
No,
Jackson?
he opens up a second store.
Oh, okay.
So he opened up the Owl Drugstore on the corner of 2nd Avenue and Yesler Way.
Owl.
The Owl Drugstore. And this is the infamous drugstore where John Considine shot and killed William Meredith in 1901.
Oh my gosh, was he there when it happened?
He probably wasn't there when it happened, but we don't know.
Ooh.
But yes, this is the actual drugstore that the chief of police was gunned down in broad daylight in the middle of the day in 1901. And it was a Bartell Drugs.
Oh my gosh.
Trusted around here since 1890.
1890.
He ended up selling the Lake Washington pharmacy to one of his employees, 18-year-old Melvin Burt Weed, who continued to run it until 1958.
Did he name him? Do all pharmacists have to have, like, pharmacy names that are, like, close to the drugs they're selling? Like, okay, they have a bunch of weeds and grasses they have to make pills out of. So he has to rename himself after one of them?
Yeah, Johnny Root Extract.
Right.
And Tommy Tincture.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So Melvin Burt Weed runs the store for over 50 years.
Mr. Burtweed?
Yeah. Well, his name is Melvin, quote-unquote, Burt. He went by Burt.
Oh, he went by Burt.
Burt was like his nickname.
His last name was just Weed?
Weed, yeah.
Mr. Weed?
Mr. Weed.
Oh, man, that sounds like a villain's name.
It does sound like it, yeah. I think he was a nice guy, though.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, he's only 18. No, he's wise beyond his
He's
years.
wise beyond his years, yeah. His wrinkled and sagging skin, craggy and betraying wisdom of many winters.
George Bartell's like, yes, I found him. Is he a clone of George Bartell?
No.
He's just another?
I don't think so. We can't prove he's not, but,
okay.
that's, yeah.
Throwing it out there.
It's really hard to prove something didn't happen, so.
Okay.
There was an alliance between drugstores in the Northwest called the Seattle Retail Druggist Association. Okay. And it was essentially a way to fix prices and drive them up depending upon demand.
They were like colluding to...
Yes.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Wu-Tang Clan.
Ain't nothing to fuck with. Yeah, the Wu-Tang Clan would not approve of this.
No, they would not.
But it is the same kind of thing as that jackass that was messing with it.
Crowley.
Whatever his name was, yeah.
His name isn't even worth mentioning.
No, it's not. 40 to 50 drugstores all agreed on what they would charge so as to remove competition and prevent each other from being undercut. George Bartell did not like this method of business.
Oh my gosh,
He refused to join the trust. And the trust rallied against him and threatened their wholesalers that if he sold to Bartell, then the whole of them would stop buying from those wholesalers.
Oh no, but he has a pill press. He knows how to do it.
Yeah, but this is a mass. He can't get the stuff to make the pills unless he gets stuff from wholesalers.
Dang it, George.
But he was able to find wholesalers in San Francisco and on the East Coast who would continue to sell to him, and he blasted the other pharmacies in the press.
Awesome.
Unsurprisingly, yeah.
Okay.
He printed one ad with the headline, "A Society Organized to Kill." Because they're trying to get people from getting affordable drugs.
Yes.
Another read, "A Train That Brought Tears," referring to a train shipment of drugs coming in.
It just brought tears because of how expensive those drugs are ultimately going to be.
Yeah, and people that couldn't afford them might die.
Oh my god.
If they didn't get their catnip. Or whatever else.
Okay.
Charging less and publicly exposing the trust was good for business, and his stores thrived. Mm-hmm. Eventually, a federal injunction was made against the trust, prohibiting them from price fixing and blacklisting pharmacies who refused to comply.
Excellent. See, that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah. Bartell opened a soda fountain in the new drugstore, ice cream soda for a nickel a glass.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And now you can fill up a growler of beer in some Bartell.
Really?
Yeah.
They have that
Bartell. Which one is it? I can't remember. It might be the U Village one, but...
Of course it's the U Village one.
Yeah, right. There's one where you can fill up growlers in the back.
No way!
Basically like a soda fountain, but for adults.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay. He later said, quote, "Drugstores didn't serve food in those days in Seattle. We heard about some Eastern drugstores starting it, and some of the boys were anxious to try it. I was a little uneasy, but told them to go ahead, and they put the thing together. I came down one morning, and they were frying eggs. It just about floored me. Now our food business accounts for about a fourth of our business."
Oh, wow. So he was skeptical at first, but then it ended up being super successful.
Cha-ching.
Well, but everybody likes an all-in-one stop. You know,
Yeah.
Get my breakfast, get my heroin.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then you're good to go.
Yeah.
You're good to go home and go back to bed because
right.
you've eaten your sustenance and now you can shoot up. October of 1905, Bartell met Beatrice Schaffer. The two moved to a house on Queen Anne and had 2 children, Amy and George Jr. Mm-hmm. Beatrice was a socialite, and the two had little in common. On top of that, George and his father-in-law never got along, and the couple divorced in 1920. Man,
he has bad string of luck with ladies.
He does.
Or,
horses.
Right.
In October of 1904, he opened a second store just a few blocks north of the Owl Drugstore on 2nd Avenue called the Red Cross Annex. Opening day, he gave away over 4,000 boxes of candy as a promotion. You come to the store, get a box of candy.
Love it. I would have gone.
Oh, yeah, me too. In 1908, he opened a third store on 1st and Pike, right at the entrance to Pike Place Market.
Oh, okay.
And it's where the International Newsstand is today.
Yeah.
You know where that is?
I know right where that is.
Right by where the mini donuts are.
How many stores is he up to now?
This is his third store.
Oh, he's only up to 3?
He sold the Lake Washington store.
Oh, that's why.
And so he's got the Owl Drugstore, the Red Cross Annex, and now the one in Pike Place Market.
Okay. And the one at 5th and Jackson is not a thing?
That's the Lake Washington.
That is the Lake Washington
that he
one?
sold.
Oh, okay.
So that's the one he sold
Okay.
to Weed.
Got it.
To Mr.
Okay.
Weed. Bert Weed.
Bert Weed.
He continued to expand and open several more stores both downtown and in Ballard. He would often walk from his home on Queen Anne to the Ballard store and back. Wow. He became a member of the Fraternal Order of the Eagles and the Rainier Club, rising up through the ranks of Seattle society.
Okay.
And on January 1st, 1916, statewide prohibition went into effect. An exemption to the ban of the sale of alcohol was made to pharmacies who were permitted to sell medicinal liquor.
Right, like for the ladies and their lady problems.
Yeah.
You need, you try to take alcohol from a woman having her menstrual cycle, and you will see hell. So
is that what they mean by lady problems?
I think I'm going to assume it is.
Okay.
I mean, if we really want to get into it, I can name quite a few others, but
Okay.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume.
Let's move on. So because pharmacies were allowed to sell medicinal liquor, 65 new pharmacies popped up in Seattle in the first 3 months of 1916.
Because everybody started to have lady problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Suddenly.
If there's prohibition, I might start to feel like I have lady problems. And it only appears a little Mrs. Pinkham's, flower extract or whatever it was.
Right.
It became clear these drugstores were being lax in their sale of liquor, and the state clamped down on distribution of alcohol by pharmacies. Certain tonics were still permitted, including wine tonic, which was 22% alcohol.
That's liquor.
It's liquor, yeah.
Today's liquor.
That's more alcohol than... That's more
44 proof.
That's more than twice as much alcohol as actual wine has.
Way to crack down.
Yeah, way to nail it, guys.
We really got
Good
it.
work.
What?
Yeah, 22% alcohol. And
Man.
of course they continued to sell wine tonic.
Like crazy.
Yeah. When World War I came around, many men enlisted to fight, including many of Bartell's employees. There was concern in many industries about allowing women to fill the void in the workforce made in the absence of so many young men.
Especially when they're having lady problems. How are they going to fulfill their duties?
I don't know.
I mean...
I really don't know.
I can't wait to find out.
There was a lot of concern about letting women into unions.
Oh.
Because if they let women into unions, then the men come back. How are these men going to work and support families if there's all these ladies filling up the unions?
Yeah. Plus they're probably distracted by the ladies.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Bartell had no such reservations about hiring women, and he hired Edith Thorpe, who was the first female pharmacist in the state of Washington.
I think I've seen an Edith at a Bartell's up in Lake City. Pretty sure same
Okay.
Edith.
Pretty sure same person?
She's very, very old.
Okay. Is she 130 years old?
She might be, but you know what? I bet she was taking some of the secret drugs that Bartell knew about to keep him young.
She was chewing on the opium and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Good. Okay, so Edith, yeah.
It was also in 1917, during a checkup, a doctor told Bartell he had 6 months left to live.
Okay, this is 1917.
17. Yeah.
How would doctors know back then that you had 6 months to live? Doctors now don't even know.
Well, he didn't. The estimation was way off.
Okay.
Way off.
Oh, I'm
but
shocked.
Yeah.
Was it only 3?
No, it was longer.
Oh, good.
It was
Okay.
longer than 3, yeah.
I don't know how this would go.
Yeah, well, many drugs were coming pre-made. In the 1910s, still over 80% were being processed and compounded by the pharmacists filling the prescription.
Pill press.
And
An
onion skin. Bartell Drugs had become so successful, offers were being made from a national corporation to buy out the company. Bartell went to each of his 10 stores and put it to a vote amongst the managers whether or not to sell. The vote was unanimous. They didn't want to sell. He said, quote, "I couldn't quite stand to see the stores I have built from one small drug counter, begun down on Jackson Street in 1890, to go into the hands of an impersonal outfit with chain stores all over England, Canada, and America. The managers felt the same way. They've grown up in the business. One of our managers is now selling to the children's children of our first customers. What would a new chain company care about that? Every dollar we have used has been Seattle capital, made from our own stores, put back into new ones. I couldn't sell out."
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Local boy makes good.
Yeah.
And that's why they're trusted around here
Since 1890.
The company expanded and opened its own candy kitchen to make sweets to sell in the stores. So now they have their own candy-making operation.
Oh my gosh, this is intense.
Yeah. Nothing's more intense than a candy factory.
I mean, I've seen that I Love Lucy. It gets intense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it was like.
That's exactly what I'm imagining is happening in the back of every Bartell's, is a humongous factory where they're making candies.
Yeah. When the Great Depression hit, Bartell Drugs was able to weather it with little difficulty. The stores weren't in debt, and they stocked low-cost items, both medical and retail, that people needed to buy even when they were cutting down on luxuries. If you can barely afford anything, medicine is going to be high on your list of priorities. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5 new stores opened in the first half of the 1930s.
Whoa. Expanding in the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In 1939, George Bartell handed control of the company over to his son, George Bartell Jr., who ran the company for 50 years before turning control to his son, George D. Bartell, who runs the company today.
So it's like, in England, they're like kings.
Like a monarchy?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
they're Bartell's monarchy.
Handing over the business, just staying in the family. It's a family business.
It's a family business.
Yeah.
With how many stores?
Today there are over 60 Bartell stores.
Yeah, okay.
In the Puget Sound region.
Okay. 60 territories, so you will.
60 territories.
Oversee.
They've colonized the Northwest.
Yes. They're everywhere.
They are everywhere, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Good on him, though.
Good on him.
Kansas?
Started out at 14. Going out and making it on his own.
So wait, he had 2 ladies that, one of which, mystery.
Yeah.
And the second,
he
they
divorced.
Divorced,
had
but
2 children.
had 2 children.
Yeah.
And he never remarried?
I think he got married a 3rd time.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
We don't know anything about her either.
We probably know more about her. I didn't, I might have missed that in my research, but yeah, I think he got married a 3rd time.
Wow. Well, that's way more interesting than I thought that Bartell started. I guess it's a lot more different. Like when I see a Bartell's, because I've seen like the since 1890.
Yeah.
I've always thought, I bet it was just like this family shop, just this one old guy that started it up, but he was like 18.
He was 18, yeah, and he'd been working in a pharmacy since he set off on his own at the age of 14.
Seek out my fortune.
Yeah.
At 14.
You mean I can ride in a boxcar with 10 horses and you'll take me to the Northwest? By golly, why would I say no?
Yeah. How can you say no to 10 horses?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, it's a good thing he didn't strike rich. Like, what would have happened if he got all that money?
If he made money in the Klondike?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hard to say.
I wonder if he would have,
He probably would have come back and opened up a whole bunch more stores and made a whole bunch more money. That would be my guess.
Okay. I guess pharmacy was his passion.
It was, yeah. He was good at it, and that's what he knew.
Did he get a degree at UW?
He did not.
So he never graduated?
He never got a degree from the University of Washington.
Oh, that's...
He studied there for a while, but he got his, he became a licensed pharmacist because he spent a year as an apprentice when he was 17 years old.
Oh, what a world.
Yeah, right. When I was 17, I was working at a laser tag arena, and I didn't get no license to do nothing.
When I was 17, I was working at a makeup store for old women.
Okay.
And putting makeup on mature women is difficult.
Did they have lady problems?
No, they just had gravity problems. And, there's a lot of skin everywhere. And when you're trying to conceal, it's very difficult to manage.
Okay.
So, and I guess I just didn't have as much spunk as Mr. Bartell.
Well, he had drive.
Yeah.
He was certainly driven.
Good for him.
And now his empire stands.
Exactly,
in the
with
Puget Sound
60
region.
territories.
60 territories. Well, thank you for listening to the Seattle Files. Thank you so much, Kris, for being here.
My pleasure.
I'll be back next week with a new topic and a new guest. If you have a topic suggestion you would like to hear an episode about, shoot me an email at theseattlefiles@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. Try to rate and subscribe and rate the show in iTunes. And I'll be back Tuesday with new episodes every Tuesday with a new topic and a new guest. Thank you for listening. 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 A new guest. Thank you for listening.